Hello everyone, I'm filming at Blackguard Gully this morning. This is the site of Chinese and European gold mining riots. The Chinese miners who made this rich find here at Blackguard Gully at the start of 1861 had little time to actually claim their work because the European miners descended upon this Blackguard Gully that you'll see here, and they destroyed the Chinese tents, accommodation, any mining equipment, and worse still, they ended up cutting off the Chinese pigtails, and in the course of it murdered 2 of the Chinese miners. There were about 500 Chinese miners who were mining this area of rich seam of gold, and they're actually doing better at it than the Europeans. The Europeans felt the Chinese were aliens and had no right to stake their claims here. So there were riots. I'm in Young, New South Wales, formerly known as Lambing Flats. There were riots throughout the 1860s and 1861, and it culminated in an act of parliament that prohibited Chinese people from mining this land. But I'm here because I'm interested to see if I can pick up any information at all on the Chinese who worked these claims and of course were subjected to those terrible riots and death in the 1800s as a result of, I guess, what would be known as discrimination. So let's see what we can find. So I'm about to enter Blackguard Gully across this dam, and as always it's summer here and I'm on the lookout for Joe Blakes, as we call them, or snakes. Okay, also I'm told that there was a tragic suicide here most recently, so I'm pretty sad that that has occurred, as well as the riots in 1860 and 1861. This site is actually heritage listed, and the bloodiest day of the battle, according to this information, was Sunday 30th of June 1861. And it was the most brutal of the riots. The conflict that day later led to a civil uprising by the European miners against the authorities. And what happened here at Lambing Flats is only rivalled by what occurred at Eureka, another gold mining field in Victoria known as the Eureka Stockade Rebellion. But it did usher in political reforms that took the form of the White Australia policy, which of course has since been done away with. But these were different times, these were different societies, and we've always got to be mindful that we progress. We should always be progressing in our tolerance and not, I guess, taking any sort of bias or prejudice, fear. The base of all of that is fear, out on any particular race of people. So you can see that the gullies, if I follow this track that I'm walking to, they go all behind this overgrowth. I used to actually come and play here as a child. Little did I know the extent that the ground that I was walking on had quite a violent history. Okay, so here I am filming at Blackguard Gully. What I'm going to do now is get my rods out and attempt to make contact with any of the Chinese that might, or any of the residual energy, I guess, in what was, quite a landscape that's likely to have some of that residual energy as a result of the violence. Let's see what we can find. I'm just going to call out, I've just placed some motion sensors around. So I have one there and I have one over here. And I'm just going to call out to anyone here, any beings of light and love who may want to communicate with me, and we'll just see if we get any sort of response. I'm also going to tune in psychically as well. So let's see what we can find out about this place. So immediately I'm obviously getting battle scenes. I'm also getting a road into this gully that may not have been here before. So where you see that water course, I don't feel like that water would have been there. I think there was a road that came from town and went down and then up into a hill. Okay, so I'm seeing the road and I'm seeing people going with, it looks like red type of red, well, it's just coming across to me as red lighting. I'm assuming these are torches. So I feel that there would have been some kind of activity here in the night, that I'm just seeing tents burning in the night. So I don't know, that's something I'll find out after I finish here. I don't know if the riots occurred at night, but I'm just getting a nighttime feel to this, that the Europeans struck at night when the Chinese would have been in their beds, and the attack was, you know, fairly stealth-like and caught them unawares. I'm picking up the name Tom as being significant here. Let's see what else I can pick up. I do believe that there were actually women in the camp as well. It wasn't just men. I can't, again, another thing I will have to corroborate. So that there was this fighting back, but I feel like the Chinese were outnumbered. There was no way forward for them. And of course I do know that there was thousands of European miners to hundreds of Chinese. Let's see if I can, actually there's a lot of bull ants around here, so I don't want to get bitten. Let's see if I can hone in on this Tom, maybe down this way. Okay, let's see if I can hone in on this Tom that I'm getting while I watch my feet. There's that water. I feel that was that's a man-made addition, because I don't see any water coming into this site. I think that was later on. Of course, the Chinese would have mined with water, and as I understand the history here, water was very, very scarce, and this was one of the arguments about the from the Europeans, that the Chinese were using more than their fair share of the water, and are therefore drawing more of the gold out of the fields, and that was one of the problems for the Europeans. And of course the Chinese were very efficient miners, as I understand it, and they, you know, probably, whether there's any truth to the overwater use, or whether of course they were just more efficient at what they did, I don't know. But I do know that they are very efficient gold miners right across Australia. Australia had a lot of gold mining areas, just as other countries. The American goldfields. Australia was similar, and it attracted those workers from all across the world. There is an old building here, probably a public toilet at one stage. I don't want to. I'm by myself today. I don't want to venture too far in the bush because I don't know what I will find. Pardon me. Let's go back to this name I keep picking up. So as always, when I ask for spirit to step forward, so someone faced a someone faced a crossroads here, and I think, you know, unfortunately, I think I'm picking up the person who took his own life, because I'm seeing a crossroads. I didn't want to do that. I was hoping more to pick up that residual energy. And there could have been addiction, I don't know, but I'm getting either debt. I'm getting the image of the tarot, devil card in the tarot. Of course, that is can be associated with, you know, unfortunately, drugs, alcohol. I don't know. It can be habits that we can't break out of, situations that we're unable to free ourselves from, and that energy, that toxic energy, ensnares us. So, you know, there's a mental health aspect to that as well. Let's see if I can't pick up what this energy is. Yeah, I feel that somebody walked down this road. I keep getting drawn to that road. They didn't necessarily come over that bridge. They may have come up that road and then down here. Okay, so I'm calling out to any of, if there are any ancestral Chinese energies here still, I'm calling out to you. Okay, so I'm seeing the sunrise, the rays of the sun. I'm seeing a lot of light, and I'm also seeing torch lights, like searchlights too. So I feel that there have been searching here. Maybe people have gone missing. Yeah, I'm getting images I didn't want to get. Okay, so let's go back over here. Because I think that's the general direction of the person who's self-harmed. Let's go back to the Chinese. Okay, now I'm getting like a dugout behind me over there, behind those trees. Like a mining claim. I'm getting like a very clay, light coloured soil, not unlike what you see here. And I'm getting like dredging type of equipment, fairly basic. Would have been to sort the water, the pebbles from the water. There is a creek that runs through here. And so that was, as I understand it, the source of the water. So they would have had something rigged up, fairly basic. It's wooden, and they would have been separating out the rocks, and that's how they found the gold. I'm a bit hampered because I don't speak Mandarin, but I get the impression again that we were good at what we did. Yeah, I think now I've got a Chinese energy coming through here now, and they're talking about barbarism, and that they didn't understand, so that there was this gulf between the two races, that there was just no idea or no chance of understanding each other. The Chinese just wanted to be left alone. If you like, you can touch these cap balls to show us you're here, if you wish. Okay. It's a pretty thick bush. My partner isn't with me today, otherwise I guess I'd send him first and we go down there. But all right. Now, do you have any other messages? Because I feel that this Chinese type energy is coming for a reason. I've just got my camera equipment set up here as well. Okay. There's something around, they were able to pick the gold, pick the places very well where the gold might have been. it's like a feeling also, because I'm just getting attracted to the shine of something. So in the sluicing process, that was efficient as well. They just had a natural feel for the gold mining process. Okay, I'll use my rods later on in this video because there's a second part to it where a commemorative garden has been erected to try and breach the trauma and violence of the past between the Chinese and this particular community in Young, New South Wales. And a beautiful Chinese garden has been erected, and I'll take you out there and show that. But I think it's probably time to draw some tarot cards. Hey everyone, I'm at the Chinese, it's known as Chinaman's Dam. This is the site of like a commemorative healing garden, which I'll take you through shortly. I've just come from Blackguard Gully, which of course was the scene of the massacres. And I did do a tarot reading out there for you, but I think I've lost it. So we might have to do a more of a healing one. The upshot of that tarot message was that there was misunderstandings, that there was no way to bridge the misunderstandings between the European miners and the Chinese miners, and that, you know, at a crossroads time we always have the choice what we're going to do. Well, the European miners were, you know, chose violence through this lack of understanding of the Chinese. They thought that the Chinese were motivated by greed. The message that I was getting, at least out at Blackguard Gully, was that they were actually sending money back to their families in China, and that was their main reason for coming out, so that they could send money back to their families. Now, I like to think that that was the case. But anyway, I'm going to walk you through the gardens, and I do have my rods. There's a few people around. This is a kind of a tourist mecca, so I don't know what sort of privacy I'll have to draw the cards and film, but I've also got the rods, as I said, so let's just wait and see. But let's get started. It's actually very, very tranquil and a very different vibe and energy to what I got at Blackguard Gully. And unfortunately, I was picking up other energies and other spirits while I was out there. But I did manage to get to that Chinese energy, the Chinese miner energy, which came through very strongly. So let's see what we get here. So the commemoration here, it's titled Lambing Flat Echoes, and this is the Chinese tribute gardens, and we are standing on the ground of the Chinese miners who would have crossed us. They fled their lives from the rioting mobs in the 1861s. Of course, the riots went on in 1860 and culminated in 1861. Several times that year they were forced to seek refuge on James Roberts' Currawang property 20 kilometres to the south, which is good to know that somebody actually gave them some sanctuary. So you can see them in this mural here being chased off. It's interesting that there we have the wooden buckets and there we have the sticks. Throughout the reading at Blackguard Gully, I was getting that Five of Wands energy. Yeah, so it looks like there was like later on in the 1861 riot, there were 1,200 frightened Chinese miners who were able to recover and regroup with the assistance of James Roberts. So isn't that lovely? As much as you had the violence, you also had someone who did understand, and I can see why the story and the narrative is different in this Chinaman's Dam. By the spring, many had returned to the mining at Burrangong goldfield, while others left for new ground. In the 1870s, Chinese miners purchased the claim here, which then became known as Chinaman's Dam. So that's interesting. I can see, as I said, why it's a site of healing. It's a really interesting story. And I do want to say that in the main dam over there, We used to come swimming here as a kid. We lived not far from Young, on a farm, and Dad would bring us here, and we would swim in that dam. And of course, many people now enjoy the tranquility of the gardens. I'm really glad I came here because it is such a different energy. So we had a pastoralist who gave sanctuary to the miners fleeing the violent riots, and then they came back to Chinaman's Dam here, and they staked their claim here, and of course later on it then became a healing site, and these beautiful Chinese gardens were established. Oh, I can see some black swans on the dam. I don't know if you can see them over there, but man, I've always liked this place. I've always felt that it had beautiful healing energy. Okay, little did I know when I was a child what the background was. Because we heard about the Lambing Flat riots in school, but we never really, we didn't know the detail. That out of violence you had, shelter being given, and that shelter enabled them to come back and stake a claim here at the Chinese Gardens. And you can just see how beautifully tranquil this place is. Of course, the misunderstanding that the Chinese miners were, or the feeling they were conveying, is endemic across the world between races of people, and behind the violence that we see. So the Chinese garden is constructed around the pond, and it's been constructed with, I guess, a feeling of tranquility and a feeling of healing. And I absolutely do get that vibe when I'm here. Everything in balance. Okay, it's quite hot here in Australia at the moment. Yesterday we had a predicted 40-degree heat, didn't quite get up that high. Today it's predicted to be quite high as well, but who knows? Forecasts are just forecasts, aren't they? But I'm so glad that I've got the shade of these trees and a lovely tranquil path to walk through. Wow. You know me, I'm a water lover, and I can feel the calmness of the water here. And we've got some ducks, black ducks, a mother and a child just there, over there in the water. And it feels like everything is okay with the world when you're in a peaceful place like this. You can see the she oaks. I know I rave about she oaks. They're my favourite Australian tree. They grow beside water courses, and when it's windy, you can hear the wind in them. They make that beautiful rustling noise. I grew up with them around our homestead house when I was a kid, and they always hold these beautiful fond memories. I don't want to crowd the people up ahead of me. I don't want to crowd their space. But yeah, let's walk on and see what we can see. So guys, I did promise the rods, and I've found a quiet place with nobody about, and hopefully they don't think that I'm an absolute, I don't know, random person, odd person. Okay, did I connect? Yes. Okay, so that yes is crossing and no. These rods almost know what to do. No is when they come apart. So, okay, the spirit of the Chinese miners that I encountered at Black Gully was that. any Chinese miners come through, or would anyone like to come, any Chinese miners like to come through right now? If you could cross for yes. Yeah, okay, so we have that. I think this is a fairly profound place. Have you found healing, particularly the 2 miners that died in those rites? Okay, all right. Now someone is, when the rods do that, someone is to my right, and again, as I said, my left tends to indicate past events, and the rods moving to the right indicates the future. So we are in the future here. Okay, all right, it's important, I'm getting to move on from the past. Is that correct? Now I am seeing a bridge, okay, and I'm seeing generational, I'm seeing a modern day Chinese man, so this is, and a child, and they're standing on a bridge. I'm pretty sure that somebody connected with those rites visited this place and found healing. Ah, yes, okay, they did. All right, healing from the past. Oh my God, and it's like the rod is wanting to pull out of my hand. Healing from the past. Thank you, Spirit. Okay, so from injustice, can you show me how hard? It is hard. So what I'm seeing is a tree, a bare tree without any leaves, and its petals are on the ground. Yes, thank you, Spirit. And what I'm feeling is that when you stay in the past, you stay in barrenness. The fruit or the beauty has already gone, and if you stay in that place, all you will look at is petals on the ground. Yeah, this is relevant to me because as you know, I've lost significant people in my life. Okay, all right, how do you move on? So there's a pathway, and it's about stepping forward and stepping through those beautiful petals. The petals litter the pathway forward. Thank you, and that is love, and that's how the past and the present and the future come together when you walk over the love, that you walk with the love, with the love that you were given from your past loved people. They, as I say a lot, they walk with you, they're always with you, just as that ancestral Chinese person was, that whose relatives came to this garden at some point when this garden was built. Now, I did lose the tarot reading out at Blackguard Gully, so I'm going to pull on cards for any messages that Spirit might want to give us. I haven't used the spellcaster deck for a while, but I'm going to now. It's a little bit difficult to shuffle, but I think I can manage it. I think Spirit will bring forward the right cards. So, messages please. Spirit is definitely here in this healing garden, and it's so important to create healing spaces for yourself with intention, I'm feeling. So there's something that I need to do in that way as well to commemorate the people that I've lost, and I will do that in my home. I think I have partially done that, but I think I can do it more with an intention to honour that love and walk with that love that I have been given in my lifetime. Okay, so, yes, all right, so what messages from Spirit do we need to bring forward from my viewers that are watching this? Don't be afraid to walk down that path. So the Eight of Cups talks about loss. Very different reading here, even though I probably lost the one at Blackguard Gully. And the Seven of Cups, with which pathway do you choose? Do you choose to walk the pathway that is littered with loss, or do you choose to walk in another way? You need to choose the pathway of strength, not weakness. That's interesting. Oh, gosh, spiders and things. Okay, the King of Cups talks about the pathway of emotional wisdom. What's in the sky here? It's the pathway to victory. So you choose to walk the pathway of strength. And the Three of Pentacles, having strong relationships with others and building strong relationships with others. Remember, the tree is fairly barren if you decide to stay in that landscape. Steadiness and progress, feet grounded on the earth. And the Six of Pentacles, giving and receiving help. The help is always there if you choose to look for it. The Spirit Hierophant Divine is in the hopes and fears, always putting your faith in I guess, Spirit, God, Goddess, Buddha, Lord Buddha, Great Spirit. The Seven of Pentacles. It's time to plan, to water that tree. And it's interesting, in this deck, this tree has leaves and this person is watering it. And it is clarified by endings. So you don't stop watering that tree because somebody close to you has died. You bring love forward and you walk with love, the Knight of Cups. Base of the pack is the Seven of Swords. Often that energy comes up when we are lying to ourselves, when we are stuck in our emotions and our disappointments, the Four of Cups. The decision is always ours. Which present and future do we manifest? And the last card here is the Page of Wands, stepping forward down that pathway toward healing. And we can do that at any time in our lives. Well, that's the healing messages in the Chinaman's Dam Garden, the Chinese tribute garden here at what was known as Lambing Flats, now known as Lambing Flats in the 1800s, but it is known as Young, New South Wales, the site of the one of the worst massacres, riots. 2 Chinese were killed, and now we find ourselves in this beautiful healing garden. As you can see, viewers, it's pretty hot here, so I'm going to call it a day. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. I've certainly enjoyed visiting these places again, and really understanding the difference between what was a traumatic, violent event and then the juxtaposition with the healing at these beautiful Chinese tribute healing gardens. So anyway, that's what I've got for you. It's been a good road trip. I have others planned in the future. Thanks for subscribing to my channel. Thanks for your likes. And I'll see you again another time. Bye for now.